Same with the cabinets. At first, I was actually wondering if maybe it was like...
Oh. So I don't think they're going to attack her because I think they want to turn her into a monster. Like, not just the outside, but what matters most. So you're a monster on the inside.
The writers have confirmed via the podcast a lot of the answers were in season 1.
Today, guest host Dawn and I are talking about the thrilling horror mystery show from season 4, episode 10, the finale, If a Tree Falls in the Forest. So spoilers are ahead.
We'll be talking about Fatima's transformation,
all the crazy things that happen after the bottle tree is pulled,
the talismans, Henry's unraveling, and more.
Quick shout out to our channel members. Thank you so much for your support so that we can continue making these videos.
So let's get into the finale.
We finally see the man in yellow and the boy in white at the same time, next to each other, talking. It really feels like things are coming to a head. We have the battle of good versus evil, and definitely have some thoughts, some theories about that. But before we dive into that, I'm curious, what were your thoughts on the episode and/or the season as a whole?
I think the finale did a good job of giving us a couple more answers than we'd gotten before. Things are starting to come together. I feel like the stakes are getting real. Not that they weren't real before, but...
They definitely raised stakes.
Yeah, exactly. They definitely raised the stakes. So I thought the finale was good.
And I think that a lot of the threads that you could see going in a direction that they either resolved in a good way or a bad way, but I do feel like a lot of the things, at least the ones towards the end of the season, they did show that they are kind of continuing that. I do think that there is still, and I know that the series has always done this, so it's hard to really kind of complain about it. You know, it's not like it's a new thing, but it can be slightly frustrating when something really cool is brought up and then just gets dropped for many episodes. And I feel like the Julie story walking thing, I want more of that. That seemed like that was going to be, I mean, to end last season on that idea, it really felt like it was going to come into play bigger here. It felt like she was going to play a bigger role. And I was very excited for what they could do for that. And then to just have it, you know, have these situations where Julie struggles with it, and then kind of gives up. And then we leave it alone for basically like half the season.
Right.
And then don't bring it back up. I know they'll come back to it.
I was going to say, I think it's going to be a big part of season 5.
Yes.
I think we might even see the Lake of Tears come back. Because they did say, the writers have confirmed via the podcast that a lot of the answers were in season 1. A lot of so whatever that means for the show, that a lot of things come from season 1. Yep. The answers in season 1. Yep. You know, and season 1 has a lot, you know, the Lake of Tears.
Yes.
The monsters, like in the van, the finger monsters. Mm-hmm. So I think that there is, I definitely before season 5 want to go back and watch season 1.
Yeah.
And just kind of like get back into that space. But I do think big storylines like the story walking,
yes,
Lake of Tears, some of the other ones will come back.
So overall, very much enjoyed the season. I don't think I enjoyed it quite as much as the last season. I really dug that one. I think for me, this one started really strong and then kind of went a little down from there and felt like it was like toying with us several times. It felt like it toyed with us with Donna. And like there's a difference between kind of manipulating my emotions, you know, or the viewer's emotions in order to elicit certain reactions. I expect that shows are going to try and have certain feelings hit, but I think it's different. There's a thin line between taking expectations and surprising you with it. And I think there's something different when it's like when you're leading and you really make it seem like this is going to happen and it's going to be something emotional that you're, you know, really thinking about. And then it's like, psych. And I do feel like the Donna thing was one of those for me, where they kept teasing out the fact that she was going to die. And then we actually saw her kind of die. She died, right? Like technically, I think like when your heart stops beating and or like people die and then come back to life. And I think that she might have been one of them.
I mean, I don't think they know if she, it's not like they had an EKG on her and they could like, they checked for
they
a heartbeat.
did get an EKG on her, didn't
But
they?
at that point, they'd already been doing like CPR on her, didn't they?
Yes,
So,
yes. So anyway, so it did feel a little bit like they were toying with us. For the most part, very much enjoyed it. But there are some like minor things that for me made it not quite hit as much as, let's say, last season, which I very much enjoyed.
I agree. And I do think one of the big differences for me is last season's finale was a show don't tell. Like, you didn't know what was coming. They hadn't set up anything verbally. And I feel in this season, Sophia keeps saying the end is near. Things are going to start happening.
Yes.
I'm putting things in motion. It's time for me to light a match and watch it burn. Like, we're being told that big things are coming.
Yes.
Instead of feeling it from the story itself.
Yeah.
We're just being told.
It's almost like the writers are saying, like, just a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Just have to keep watching.
Yeah.
You know, versus like having the story be compelling enough.
Right.
That we're like, okay, I'm there. You don't need to tell me. I'm in. Yes. Yeah. I can definitely see that where they just overtly tell you.
Yeah. So I do agree with you that I think previous seasons were a little bit stronger than this one. But this one had some highlights.
And I think like that, there were other things and I realized, okay, so this is like, there's weird lore to this. Right. And I think it is going to be tough to visually explain all the lore. I do think that there were a few times that they had to just like word dump the answers, you know, instead of, it would have been nice if they could have figured out like a visual way to tell us. But, you know, once again, with you mentioning Sophia said some things, you know, Sophia says what her power, like, I can only do this with dead people.
Right.
But like, we just figure it out by just straight up being told.
Right.
So once again, great highlights. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So we've gotten out the overall thoughts, and it sounds like I'm griping a ton, and I don't mean to. I'm just starting off with like a few minor things. Let's jump into some of the more exciting parts that definitely happened and our thoughts on them, because there were some crazy stuff. There's like lightning. Yeah. Coming from the ground.
Red lightning.
Going the wrong, right. It's the wrong direction. It's the wrong color. This is not normal lightning. There's Sophia taking talismans. There's all sorts of stuff happening. Where do you want to jump in with some of this fun stuff?
I mean, I think the whole cave expedition is kind of its own big thing. So who knew that the monsters literally couldn't go into sunlight like vampires?
Yeah.
I mean, I knew that they didn't come out during the day, but I didn't think that they couldn't go into the sunlight.
It wasn't like an instant death. Like I feel like it is for vampires. It felt more of like rather than like a solid line they can't cross, it felt more like a rubber band where they could like go into it, but then it like pushed them back, you know?
Right.
They're like, oh no.
Right. Or like
I didn't put on my sunscreen.
Or like they couldn't stay in it for so long.
Yes.
Like they can't stay in it.
Yeah, like it wasn't an instant thing. And that does make me wonder, like, can they legitimately not? Or is this closer to kind of what we discussed last week of rituals that they're not supposed to? And so they looked up, they saw the light, and then they're like, if we want to win this game, we got to play by the rules. Let's back up. We're not allowed to be in the sun.
I don't know if the monsters are trying to win the game. I think there are players in the game. I think Sophia, Boy in White, it looks like almost like a chess match. Like they are the players. Okay. And the monsters and the townspeople are the chess pieces that are being moved around.
That's interesting because with what happened with Fatima, that slightly confuses me as to what their role is and how they came to be, because I was under the impression, and maybe this is just part of like the fun that they're doing, is in sometime being implicit and not spelling everything out, it does allow you to misunderstand things and kind of go in different directions. And I was under the impression that these were the original people that made the deal to like give up their kids, to sacrifice their kids in order for eternal life. And I still kind of think that's the case. But then seeing Fatima transition, it did make me wonder, every year, do they take in a new person?
That was kind of a little inconsistent for me because they did say these are the original people. They did sacrifice I'm pretty sure they're people that sacrifice their children because they have eternal life. That's why they can be reborn. And they seem to know that they could be reborn in some capacity, or the lady in the kimono knew they could be reborn, which maybe that is Fatima in the future. I don't know. But Smiley seemed surprised that Fatima could match his scream because he was like, interesting. Like this is new. Okay. And they're going back and forth like, she stole my scream before. She stole my, like when Smiley was going to attack Kenny.
Yeah.
It's like, okay. So it seems like maybe this is new. Maybe this is the first time that they've had someone who pushes back and is able to control them. Maybe they've always done the controlling and they've been these horrible monsters and no one's ever thought to challenge them. And this is the first time that someone has realized that there's a connection and that it can go both ways.
And I really I think Fatima and Elgin this episode both very much gave me hope in how they stuck their ground in such crappy situations. We saw that there are people that are folding. Obviously, Clara definitely folded.
Mm-hmm.
Although that was early on. I don't know if that was like before she made these connections and then she felt like it was like a binding contract and had to. And so maybe that was why, and that was less of like her turning on people and more of like she'd already committed to that and had to see it through. I don't know.
I feel like since we didn't see that,
I know.
I imagine that it happened maybe before the Matthews got there. Because our story in Fromville only started when the Matthews arrived.
Right.
So we don't know what happened before then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's surprising that for a show with so much history, there have been almost zero flashbacks.
That is true. We've gotten some through.
We have gotten some.
Victor's pictures. I feel like we've gotten more flashbacks through like his pictures or his drawings.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like shows like this, oftentimes, where there is so much importance in the past, love to reveal more information by doing flashbacks, and there'll be lots of flashbacks. And not to say that there have been flashbacks, but just considering how much of this, how much importance there is in the past, I feel like most shows like this would show more.
But I don't think it's necessarily important to see a lot of the past in so much that since this is a cycle, it repeats itself.
Yes.
So we're kind of living the same story again.
Yeah.
So I seeing Miranda and Victor as a kid and Eloise is important because
it's not that it's important. It's that, like, think about we've seen some recent shows that have had a bunch of flashbacks. I don't remember what the last one was, but there was one that had a ton of flashbacks, and it was Paradise has so many flashbacks.
Right.
It's like almost 50% flashback. Obviously not, but it is a lot of flashback. And I was pointing out the fact that I do think that it oftentimes can be a narrative crutch. Like, it's an easy way for writers to reveal information, whether that's like to finally give you information about what's going on or to amp up the stakes by showing you what they went through a long time ago. Like, it can sometimes be a cheap trick. And I'm not saying that for Paradise it was a cheap trick, but it sometimes can be a cheap trick. And I'm a little surprised that they have been as reserved with those flashbacks.
See, I think because they're retelling the same story, kind of. Mm-hmm. If they showed too many flashbacks, it might give away some of the plot points.
Right.
I mean, we saw Christopher and Jasper and Miranda and Victor and Eloise. Like, we've seen some flashbacks, but I don't think we need to see the supporting, not that they're supporting cast, but like everybody else and who they were necessarily, because we're reliving it. Yeah. And so we get to experience it firsthand without knowing the plot points that are coming.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. So going back to kind of what I was saying about hope, I think that Elgin and Fatima, in the way that they kind of took a stand and knowing that there were going to be negative consequences for them and they still chose to do the principled thing, because it does feel to a certain extent, and I've said this a few times before, where it kind of feels like Fromville could do so much worse to the people there, but it almost feels like it wants to turn them into the monsters, and not literally turn them into monsters, but
I mean, they've done that too, but
yes, but like get them to do horrible things themselves and like internally become a monster by choosing to do things that hurt the people around them, to do things that are absolutely deplorable.
Right.
You know?
That was the whole that was the whole phrase of the season,
Yes.
was become what you fear and fear what you become.
Yes. And honestly, I think I thought that was going to be a much bigger thing than it was. You know, maybe even something as big as like, I think I expected it more along the lines of like somebody was going to turn into a man in yellow type thing, versus I think the two monsters that we've seen become weren't their choice. And with like the Fatima one, she is actively fighting it. You know, while she can't change the fact that she is becoming a monster, she's at least trying to own what she can of it. And so she realizes, okay, I'm going to have to live in the cave with these other monsters, but I can at least give them a chance to get out. So there is still humanity, like, rather than just kind of, oh, woe is me, and just saying, okay, I give up. I'm a monster. I'm just going to, do the monster mash. Like, I'm going to try and be a person.
Like, do you think she's one of them? Do you think she's has to abide by the same rules? Do you think she's going to live?
I think she will have to abide by some kind of rules. Like, she maybe won't be able to go in the light.
Okay.
Or at least for too long. And so I think she might have to abide by rules like that. And I think that physically changing and having Sophia's blood in her, I do think that that it's going to be a struggle to do the right thing. I think that she is going to start, there's going to be a part of her that's going to try to internally change her and make her be, bad.
Yeah.
And I think she's going to fight that. So I don't think she is like...
Sophia can go out in the daylight. So if
I think she's a different kind.
Well, I'm saying you said that she has Sophia's blood in her, so maybe she has different rules.
Yes.
Yeah. Also, do you think it's the cave or the darkness that they have to be in? Like, does she have to stay in the cave at night, in the tunnels, with the other monsters, assuming that she survives this? Or can she be anywhere?
Or can she be in any closed casket, like a vampire, like in
Demon Slayer? Can she live in a cabinet during the day?
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you want to go that far, then it's like, can you stop them by using like UV light or something like that? If you have the right light bulbs, can you drive them away?
This took a whole weird turn.
I know. These are the kind of, I don't think that they've really thought out every part.
I agree.
Of like this doesn't seem like the type of show where they like really thought through every single consequence of the strange rules and laws that they made, and that you can definitely like pop some balloons if you have a pin, and if you look closely enough you can figure out like weak spots. I think one of the shows we watched earlier this year, I'm pretty sure it was this year, Pluribus. Mm-hmm. I feel like that one was always 3 steps ahead, and they had thought of everything, because sometimes you would have a question and you'd be like, what about this? And then like 3 episodes later, they'd address it, and you're just like, oh,
yeah,
you really did think about all that. But I do feel like this show, there's been a few things when it's like, when I think too closely about it, it's like, that doesn't quite make sense.
Yeah.
Still love it. So I don't know on that one. And I think that like not all of this is completely figured out.
Right.
I mean,
I definitely don't think the whole UV light thing. I mean, if she has to stay in the caves with them, but she's fighting them, I don't think she's going to survive.
But no, I don't think that she is, I don't think she has to fight them. I don't think they are going to fight her, because I think they want to make her one of them.
Ah, you think they're... Well, she's... the last thing we saw was her, like, facing them, and they're just, like, screeching at each other.
Yeah, because they're trying to get past her, and I think that she's You know, like, oh, you can't get by me. You can't get by me. And so that like creates a little bit of friction there.
Okay.
But I think that they're going to want to Stockholm syndrome her, you know? And so they'll like be our guest her and kind of like take care of her and show her that like the creature life is the good life and that it's kind of fun terrorizing people.
But I don't think Fatima's going to.
I don't think she's going to, but I think that's what. So I don't think they're going to attack her because I think they want to. I think they want to turn her into a monster, like not just the outside, but what matters most. So you're a monster on the inside.
Got it. Noted. All right, what about the talisman? I can think of at least 4 that are still in existence.
Interesting, because I thought that they thought that. I'm a little torn on this. I'm torn between two things. One, Sophia knows how many talismans exist, and so she did a count.
Well, she didn't count right, or she knows that she's missing some.
But just because we didn't see her get some doesn't mean that she didn't get those.
They didn't go anywhere near Colony House, and there's 2 in Colony House. And
but they went separately, so I think not all of that was necessarily shown.
Oh, I don't.
Is what I'm saying. But I do think that, so yes, there could be 4. What I was thinking is there is one that we know of that wasn't where it should be, and so they could have gone to that place and then thought that the other one took it and therefore passed it, and that's the one at the school / like medical area, you know, like where Christy lives,
right?
Because that one, instead of being on the door, they took it in with them, and
so maybe there's 5 because there's the one at Colony House at the main door.
Okay.
There's the one that they only a few people know that they hung it downstairs where the door is. Only a couple people know that they put a talisman on that door.
Okay. Yeah.
Does Victor's hideaway truck have a talisman in it?
I don't know if it. I don't know.
Then there's the one in the cave that they hung over the tarp.
Right.
And the one that Christy, not Christy, but Maricel had in her hand.
Yeah,
Marielle, sorry. The one that Marielle had in her hand. So that's at least 5 that it would be surprising if they were accounted for. Or that they had been taken. Because I don't think they knew about some of those locations.
I can go either way. I think that there is a very good explanation for, you know, she did get all of them, because I think that is a pretty wild reset, you know, back to a time when you don't have anything to protect you and the best you can do is hide and cross your fingers and hope you don't get found.
Right.
Because, I mean, in the end, if they have even one,
right,
they all live in Colony House.
Correct.
And so to me, that doesn't like completely raise the stakes.
Well, it prevents them from kind of going anywhere and expanding. Like, Boyd was taking them and then like adventuring into the forest.
Yes.
And so they were like learning things,
right?
Because they were going out and adventuring.
Yeah.
So if they have one, they can't do that, and so they kind of, and it's not like they can make more. So Boyd happened to find those.
Yeah.
Which we also don't really know how many there ever. We don't know how many there were. Like the one that Boyd brought down into the basement of Colony House. Like whose house did that come from? Like where did that one come from?
Yeah, I think somebody online who knows whether or not it's right or not said that there was an amount, and you can search it.
Okay.
I feel like it's like somewhere between like 12 or 14. But I also don't know if that was explicitly said. I do think that there is a finite amount, because I do think that that Boyd found all of them in one place, and that changed everything. So I don't think it was like an Easter egg hunt where like once Boyd figured it out, then everybody was looking for talismans, you know, to make their lives better.
Right. Because there was also one on the bus.
Yes. Yeah.
So it would not shock me if they just moved ahead with that storyline and said that they got all of them. But it would kind of be unbelievable, because everyone at Colony House was like waiting for them to come back, for Jade and Tabitha to come back. So they weren't like off doing other things. Like, I don't know how Claire got in all of these houses and took everyone's personal talismans if people were in the home, you know?
Yeah, I don't know on that. I do feel like there were some very good distractions this episode. You know, I think that during the earthquake, people probably went outside to see what the heck was going on.
Right.
And during the upside down red lightning,
yes,
I think people were going down, which is a terrible idea. Don't go outside. Look through the safety of your windows.
But it's simultaneously happening with an earthquake, so
that doesn't make it smarter to be stupid. Don't go outside during lightning storms. I shouldn't have to tell you this from Villians.
I mean, it was cool lightning though.
It was very. I mean, I do like thunderstorms,
right?
So
you can see it better from outside.
Yeah.
Just don't be the tallest thing.
Yeah,
and you're probably fine.
Yeah. I mean, I think most of the people were on like the porch of Colony House.
Right.
They weren't actually, so like they were even covered from.
Right.
Not that there was rain, but
right.
If there had been, they would have been covered from the rain. They probably would have been safe.
Yeah. Boyd and Randall, they were standing outside the hospital, so they weren't the tallest thing. They got to see the lightning.
Yeah. That's one of the great things about being short. Is you're rarely as long as you're in a group, you're not going to be the tallest one.
I know. I'm shorter than you, so I'm always safe.
So I can see it going either way, because like, what's the point of getting rid of the talismans if you didn't get rid of all of them?
But are there going to be faults in the plan? Like, is the man in yellow going to drop the ball somewhere? Do you think the man in yellow knows about Fatima? Like, did he think they foresaw that one?
The man in yellow has his blood in Fatima, so I think he's got some kind of a connection.
It's got the blood in Henry too.
Yeah. So I think there's a connection there. I think that's maybe like the whole like baby thing where it's like the man in yellow, Sophia, can not necessarily see through their eyes, but maybe can like have a feeling of what's going on.
Because Sophia / man in yellow doesn't seem concerned about Fatima.
Sophia doesn't seem concerned about anything.
Well, that is true.
Sophia's cool as cat. I mean, as many centuries as they have run this game, Sophia's always won.
That's what I'm saying, though. Are the rules
she's
changing?
Just like super. I don't think
are new things happening that haven't happened before, like Fatima joining the nighttime monsters.
Well, I mean, to me, they made it clear that two things seemed new to me, and it was a win for each side. Mm-hmm. It's like we got the bones, we got the bottle tree.
Right.
If the man in yellow always wins, then just kind of having like one win each. And to me, the bottle tree, like obviously, okay, I do think that the bones are potentially the key to getting out. Now, obviously, there's more to it. You have to use them right. Do something with them. Right. I don't know what.
Hopefully, it didn't involve the bottle tree.
Hopefully. Like getting the bones to the tower.
Right. Yeah. I mean, they just need a faraway tree for that.
Yeah.
And hope that it goes through. That's the other thing. She dumped the talismans in the faraway tree, so they might show back up.
I know. The funny thing, like when the first time that we saw the effect of that, it literally went within like visible distance, didn't it? Like, didn't they see where the thing went?
I don't remember.
It could. I think it can transport you to like right there.
Right.
It's unlikely that you're going to be right next to it, but
right. And they jumped so many in there.
Yes, but I also think that Fromville is such a large place that like, what's the likelihood that it will end in one of the? And still, it. So I think she felt like this was probably pretty safe.
But back to the lightning and the earthquake. Do you feel like those are associated with one side or the other, or that's like the world collapsing, like this world or whatever they're in collapsing in? Because that seemed to affect both sides. Like the nighttime monsters and the craves also got crushed by rock.
Yeah, this is my take on it. Like the impression that I got was that it was like a bottle being unstopped. As soon as that tree came out, it was like, I think that there was maybe a release of like powers or rules or advantages to the bad side.
To the bad side.
I do. I think that's part of why, because I think that the hopes of the children had some of that stuff trapped in there. You know, that there was power in those roots, and I think
those were good. Those were like their hopes and dreams. So those were good things.
Yes, and I'm saying that was like the stopper. That their hopes and dreams were the stopper that was suppressing to a certain extent.
Got it.
And so I think it's possible that they gained access to new powers, rules, rituals, something. Like I think that this was a pretty major win.
Right.
For, you know, for all the monsters.
Maybe. I mean, the earthquake essentially saved Jade and Tabitha in the moment because they were trapped at a dead end and the monsters were coming. And then the second earthquake happened and blocked it. So, like, yeah, they were locked in, but they hadn't been attacked by the monsters. And then they were eventually able to get out. So, and I think Boyd said, like, we don't know what's coming next, which again was another, like, telling us that things are going to change.
Right.
Like, all the rules you thought you knew for season 5 may be different.
Yes. But at least, like, I do have the very real hope that with only one season left, that they're going to have to stop asking questions. Not to say that there won't be any in those last episodes.
Yeah.
But I think that we will have a higher ratio of answer to question. I do still think a bunch of the workings of, like, what exactly powers are and, like, what weaknesses are and what all can they do. I think that I don't think that stuff will necessarily get answered. I don't think that stuff is as important.
I agree.
I think we'll get the important questions answered, and there'll still be some mystery.
Yeah, I agree. I do agree. Okay, let's talk about the relationship between Henry and Victor now. That was a tough one.
It's been a really tough one for me.
That was hard. You know, you can see that Victor is feeling hurt. He's feeling guilty. You know, he wishes he hadn't maybe shown him that picture because everything kind of went downhill after that. And I felt like that scene in the bedroom was pretty sad.
And Victor felt very much like a surrogate for me. Like it felt like he was saying, well, first of all, to the sad part, absolutely. Like, especially when he starts it off with, it's never been like this, it's scarier. He said something like that. And Victor can sometimes come off a little like a child. You know, his emotional, intellectual growth sometimes seems stunted. And the way that he said that seemed like a child talking to their dad, not like just an adult talking to their older dad, you know? And for him to start off with that and Henry to still not connect and bring out the gun was such a gut punch for me. But then also, it also felt like Victor was speaking for me when he was like, what's wrong? What changed between us? You know, he didn't say this, but it's like at the beginning of the season, we had that really fun scene where we moved the bed in together.
He said that.
I know. And he didn't say the scene. He was like, we had the fun scene, you know, but it was like, that's in my head, very much what I was thinking was like, oh, they had so much progress between when Henry first came in and he didn't understand Victor and he was treating Victor like Victor was, I'm not trying to use the word negatively because I'm not normal, but he was treating Victor like he was a normal person versus treating Victor the way that Victor
grew up and needed
to, you know, and then he finally understood, like, I need to meet Victor where he needs to be met. And it was such a big growth arc. And then we have that fun scene. And then this season just pooped all over that. And it hurt. And so when Victor said that, I was like, yeah, come on, snap out of it.
Yeah, that was tough. But it's I don't blame Henry either. I mean, he doesn't want this to be real. And it's hard because he hasn't been there that long. He didn't come there a normal way. Like, he didn't live through, like, the routine of seeing the tree and driving in circles. Like, I mean, I know that's how they did drive in circle, but he was in the ambulance. Yeah. And so he didn't really experience it in that way. And he didn't have to
Well, I mean, like
find
Acosta
his
said, like
place.
she never got the chance to do that.
Right.
And so, like, Acosta didn't accept it because she didn't get the chance to. That's something that you have to accept on your own.
Right. And Henry didn't get that chance. And now he's having, and then, you know, it's very traumatic because his family was missing for so long. He didn't know what happened to them. Then he finds out they're here. Then he finds out that his wife was eaten and apparently she's reincarnated. And like, that's a lot for a person to take in. Yeah. And now he's having, you know, visions. He doesn't know that he drank the man in yellow's blood.
Yeah.
So he doesn't think he did anything out of the ordinary, out of his normal routine. So why would he suddenly start having visions or dreams? And that's tough. And things don't make sense there. And he hasn't been there long enough to see that all the way through. It's like when he was like, it got dark in the middle of the day. That's not real. Like,
I know.
It's like when you, like you said, I think last episode or episode before, it's like when you know you're in a dream. You're like, I know this is a dream because this isn't real.
Right.
Like, I feel like maybe he's in that.
Yeah. Yeah. When you mentioned how tough it can be to take this stuff in, it just reminded me of something from, it might be season 1, episode 1, when I think, when like Tabitha and Jim, you know, and Ethan and Julie arrive in the camper and they stop at the grave where the ceremony is happening.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it was so odd how nobody was nice and like connected with them, and how strange it was that they were being so standoffish. But
they felt it was weird too.
They did. But I think that comes back to what you were saying of like, nobody could take you in and say, hey, here's the situation. Here's what you're about to deal with. Just trust me, bro.
Right.
You know, like you have to experience that yourself. So to a certain extent, it was like, I feel bad for what you're about to deal with, but this is something you legitimately have to come to on your own.
Right. And I think
once you're done spiraling from that, then we'll be here for you.
And I think Henry had a very different introduction into it because he gained something by coming there. Like he gained information that he'd been missing.
He got answers,
You know? Same with Christy and Marielle.
Yeah.
I mean, they gained as well. But Marielle had some other things happen to her, and I think Christy was more of a relatable source than Victor and his dad. Like the relationship that they have in terms of communication and what Victor's been through versus what Christy's been through. We're different.
Yeah.
But where does that leave their relationship going forward now? That's...
whose relationship?
Victor and Henry's. Where does that leave their relationship? I mean, Victor had to kind of attack his dad to knock the gun out of his hand. And that's also really hard for Ethan to watch. Like, Ethan doesn't have his dad anymore. And so I feel like that whole scene was kind of interesting to me.
Yeah, I worry about what's going to happen to Ethan after this because up to kind of this point, Ethan's been pretty cool, calm, and collected about everything. And I feel like this is the first time that we've really started to see him crack.
Yeah.
And between that first crack and then him going to visit Victor and somebody, an adult that he should trust, pointing a gun at him, I know it was on accident, but still, I don't think it's like he necessarily immediately dropped it away when he realized what was happening. Because, at this point, Henry's like, look, all of you guys are fake. It doesn't matter.
Right.
And I do think that must have been pretty traumatizing. And I'm very worried about, I'm not saying that he's going to become the man in yellow, but if he did anything crazy like that, legitimately, I wouldn't be shocked.
Yeah.
I would kind of understand him snapping at this point.
Yeah.
So I am worried about him.
Yeah.
I think Christy's strong, and I think that she's going to pull through this like Kenny did with his tragedies.
Yeah,
but
I agree.
That one very much hurt.
Yeah.
That was a strong scene that they did.
Yeah. And I thought it was actually acted very well.
Yes.
Christy's, I don't know the actress's name, but I thought she did a really good job with that scene.
Yeah. So I mean, like I said, I know I started in the beginning. It made it sound like I was, kind of those were minor nitpicks. I did think this episode was very good.
Yes.
And had some very strong points. Still has a lot of questions unanswered, and still don't think it ended quite as well as the last season. Very good.
Yes, agreed. Looking forward to season 5.
Oh, man. Very much looking forward to season 5. And especially, I mean, you never know what answers you're like. Just because you get answers doesn't mean that you will be satisfied with them.
Right.
I think, so we've covered Only Murders in the Building. Mm-hmm. And I think that last season there were a lot of holes. I don't want to ruin it for anybody that hasn't watched it and plans, but there were, if you were watching it closely, or if you watched it the first time and then rewatched it knowing what you know, there are very real issues with what they did. And so just because we get answers doesn't mean we're going to be satisfied with them. I'm hopeful. I really liked the story walking reveal as an answer to how Boyd got the rope. So I'm very much like in that hopeful arena of, 1, we're going to get answers. 2, they're going to be answers we like. But there's the possibility.
I think they're going to land it.
I think they're going to land it. Yeah. Yeah. I hope so.
The one other thing I was going to mention was Thomas. Yes. Why is Thomas so important to this story?
Somebody in the comments said something I really liked about him. They said that when Thomas fell, they got a phone call. Yes. And that's what distracted him. That was the moment that he fell.
Yes.
And we have seen we haven't seen this outside of Fromville, but we have definitely seen a taunting voice over the phone.
Right.
Taunting people in Fromville. And so it's like, was that planned? I do think that Thomas has been brought up enough times that there could really be something hidden that will happen that could be a real payoff.
Yeah, he doesn't really seem to fit the story because we've never seen him. We don't really know much about him, but he's kind of like a reoccurring theme. Same with the cabinets, the banging cabinets. We've only seen it once before, and that was when Jim died. Yes,
and it was in the same house. It was in the same room. It's the only place where there's really been. It was in the kitchen.
But I don't think it was in Colony House. It was in their house.
That scene took place in Colony? Oh.
When Jim died, they were in their own home.
They were in their own,
And this is Colony House. So it's 2 different rooms, but
I don't know why I thought they were
different houses. I'm pretty sure they were in their own house.
No, I know they were the first time. I'm saying the second time.
They were in Colony House. That's where they were waiting for Tabitha and Jade. That's why Donna was there.
Yeah, I don't know why I thought that maybe Donna took them to their house.
No, you see Ethan kind of run off and Julie's going after him and Donna's going after her. And then it cuts to Ethan in the kitchen and Julie and Donna kind of come in together.
Yeah.
So at first I was actually wondering if maybe it was Ethan's emotions. Like.
Oh.
Like causing it, like big break. Like when he lost his dad, it happened. Yeah. And now he thinks he's lost his mom. And I was wondering if it was coming from Ethan in some way.
That. I like that because it does feel like, there were 2 people other than Julie that went through the whole music box monster.
The music box monster, okay.
Don't know why I struggle with that. The music box monster, but they didn't gain story walking powers.
Right.
We don't know that for sure with Marielle, but we do know that Randall didn't because
they tested it.
She tested that with him. Yes. So that kind of made me feel like that was potentially something latent that maybe going through that experience, awakened it, unlocked it. Yes. And I don't know if Mark said it or if I kind of questioned it, but there has been a question of like, could Ethan have something? Right. And if so, what? And I do like because he's not emotional often.
Right. He's very cool. And those were 2 big things where he felt big losses.
I like that.
So we'll see.
I subscribe to that idea.
See you in season 5.
See you in season 5.